I asked him earlier, I was like, did you look in the mirror and make those faces for all those characters? And he said he didn't. I still don't believe him. How many people here, like most of you guys were born after the Justice League came out, but anybody remembers the Justice League that Kevin McGuire did? Raise your hand. All right, come on, fuckers. Who else is lying? I know you remember it. Anyway, Kevin McGuire, you should go over. He's right near where my table is, like kitty corner too. You should go say hi to him. He's a great artist. There's also this guy who I guess he's the anchor for the Max. I didn't know, he busted out all this Max stuff, and I was like, well, is Sam Keith gonna be here? But it's, I guess, the anchor. I think his name's Jim Sinclair or something. So he seems to have a lot of cool stuff. So that's what's going on right now. That's my little mini booth activity. I haven't been able to walk around or see anything really. So I'm asking you guys, what's the coolest thing that you've seen here so far? Artist Alley. What else? Somebody said Wi-Fi? Internet?
Dude, there's like free Wi-Fi in the corner. I'm gonna move my phone in a weird way, but I can get really good 4 bars.
So I've been doing a lot of stuff. I started out working editing Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which is a weird cartoon that used to be on late night on Cartoon Network. And I did about, I don't know, like almost 20 episodes of that show. I started in my early 20s. I was like I was making just weird shit in Chicago, and started working at this music video company. And so I was in a lot of music videos, like I'm in a video with Ozzy Osbourne, so you can look all that shit up. It's like, I'm not gonna tell you, now you have to find it. But I was his assistant, we were torturing people. And so I started working at this music video company, like building props for some of these music videos and acting in them and doing animation. So I wrote my own science fiction comedy show, and me and a friend and another pal who happened to be rich made it. So it's always good to, if you guys here in Sacramento have any rich friends, get them to buy equipment and form a company with them. That's my suggestion. Be like, look, we'll split it 3 ways. You're a 1/3 partner, but you've got to put up $1 million. And we're the fucking creative. And then you can just go to India. That's what he did. He went to India and made like Mandelbrot rugs for a fucking year. This is the truth, folks. It'll all be in my bio. So he bought an Avid and an SGI Indigo is what it used to be called. This is like pre-special effects, everybody's like, yeah, it's CG. This is before anybody knew what CG meant. And we made this really weird show, and it's still unreleased. I'll eventually release it. It's got a lot of, hey, somebody's phone's on. Hey, phone guy. Let me answer your phone for you. Hey, fucker's on the phone. He's trying to say hi. It's his mom. He's leaving. He's embarrassed. Come back. Stop shitting in your pants. Anyway, that's how I rock people with phones. I'm not going to tell you to turn it off. But, you know, that shit happens. So, whatever. I'm sure he's talking to his mom. It's his best friend. He's right there. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought. So I'm doing this weird science fiction comedy show. It didn't sell, but MTV saw it, and then they hired me to be in charge of it. They did this weird interactive CD-ROM. So kids, a CD-ROM was before DVD. It was a thing that you could put into your computer. It was like a CD, but it had a bunch of shit in it, which was interactive. That's my best description for it. And so I did this thing called MTV's Club Dead, and that's where I met a bunch of these other actors like Nick Offerman and Kate Walsh, and a whole bunch of Pat Healy, all these, I know all the Uprights and all these other people from Chicago, and then this was like the Phase 2 Chicago Young Kids Squad. So we all worked on this thing, and then from that, I got a job working, I went to Atlanta because Mike Lazo was like, I need someone who's weird and creative. And like, I guess their editors burned out or something like that. So I was like, hey, here's my reel. And I think my reel consisted of like a guy with a 5-way mohawk. I was like shooting this fucked up interactive, it's like a like you could telepathic action karate film. So anyway, that's what I was making. And so I was like, yo, here's some footage from that. And here's this weird, some weird stuff from Club Dead. I can't even remember what I sent him. The only job I had done professionally at that time, this was like in '95, was like, I had just done Cartoon Network's James Bond Jr. Do you remember that? Everybody see that? Does anybody even know that that existed? Yeah, it's a piece of trash. Try watching it. It's James Bond as a fucking kid. Like that should have happened. So, and it's him fighting the evil villains of scum, but it was S period, C period, U period, M period. It stood for fucking, I don't know, dumb, spelled backwards with other words, letters. So anyway, I took that shitty cartoon and took a bunch of really cool scenes. You know, like trailers. Like you can see The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and think that's a good movie from watching the trailer. Which I did. I was like, wow, that's gonna be great. You're gonna take all these villains and now it makes sense. Like they're all built at Oscorp. What a fucking piece of garbage. Trash that movie was. Sorry, if you liked it, get the fuck out of here. Sorry, it's garbage. It's embarrassing, horrible trash. And I'm really angry about that film. I do this show, AMC Movie Talk. Have you guys watched any of that? If you haven't, it's on every day. We just talk about movies. And I couldn't do the spoilers review for Spider-Man because I hated it so much. Like I literally, and it's why I hated it so much. I've seen other garbage films, but why I hated that movie more so is because it was so disappointing. And I thought it was going to be so good. That's why when you expect something to be so amazing and it's the exact opposite, it's like diarrhea in your mouth, you get angry. So I mean, a lot of people are like, well, I wish Nep would just stop talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I liked it. Well, I don't care. That's your opinion. This is my opinion. So I happen to have some dumb show that I could do. So that's why every once in a while I'll dig it, just like Dark Knight Rises, which is way less of a bad movie than Amazing Spider-Man 2. Dark Knight Rises just has like weird, like, why did they go by 8 years so quickly? Yeah, he's not Batman for 8 years, then he breaks his back? That doesn't make sense. Then the dude just does that and then he's okay? There's a lot of shit that didn't make sense to me. And I didn't like the way they handled Bane. But you know, let's stop talking about Dark Knight Rises. It wasn't a horrible movie like The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
They need to get bigger.
I know, they didn't do Venom, they had a thing, like, what's that? I don't know, just don't worry about it. Does he take Venom? No. He talks like this. Yeah. So, where was I with my fucking boring history? Oh yeah, so then I did Space Ghost, I went out to Atlanta, did that, then I came back to, I was living in Chicago at the time, and then they renewed it for like 28 episodes or something, and back then, like a lot of editors were brand new to that, and I got lucky because my rich friend bought one. So I had the first 100. Like George Lucas had sold, here's a little fun fact. How many people hate the prequels, the Star Wars prequels? Okay, I do too, they're garbage. But not as bad as Spider-Man 2, but they're garbage. They're embarrassing, weird, fucked up, like an old man like, oh, I'm playing with my toys again. Just give them to somebody else. That's why I think 7, 8, 9 are gonna be awesome. But anyway, George Lucas is responsible for everything that we fucking use. His team, he didn't personally do it, but he funded the Edit Droid, which was the first nonlinear digital editing system, which became the Avid. And when they were ILM was in its prime, a couple of dudes created Photoshop and skimped off. That's why he was like, yo, anything you do in ILM, I own, whether you're asleep or awake, I own it. That's like if you go work at ILM, anything you think of that has anything to do with computer graphics or anything is owned by the company, just because two dudes skimped off and got rich making Photoshop. So, but you can thank George Lucas for almost everything that you use, even your phones, like sound effects, sound design, THX, nonlinear digital editing. It's ridiculous how much just that guy just sprinkling fucking millions. You know what I mean? Because they just make sure my name's on everything. It's like Lucasfilm, Lucas this, and everything. But so he always gets a pass from me. Like even if he, I'm glad he sold Star Wars to other people who want to make it. But he's responsible for anybody. How many people use non-linear stuff, digital editing, like iMovie? Has anybody used iMovie? No, none of you guys edit anything. How about Instagram? Have you filmed anything on Instagram? Come on, raise your hand if you've used Instagram. What if you've used Instagram? Raise your hand. Really? So I don't believe you. You're like shaking your head. Are you like an Amish person, or you're like, I put on this red T-shirt to build. No one knows I'm Amish. So this is electricity. Anyway, I like Amish. Has anybody ordered that oven kind of like heater thing that you can get? Have you seen it on TV? It's like built by Amish people. Like they build the outside of it, and then there's some other weird technology that's inside that heats everything. It's fucked up. I'm still trying to figure that out. I want to go to that place where they build the fucking Amish heating units and just hang out for a week. You know? Just fucking like hang out. Be like, is it cool if I stay here? So, guys, are you leaving? Where are you going? Come on. It's about to get fun. Anyway, these 3 chicks, they left the convention, and some really bad things happened the minute they walked out of the door. This is what really happened. The story goes, they're attacked by tiny, tiny, tiny Sasquatches. They're all called Smallfoots. They bind all 3 women together and fuse them into one gigantic Sasquatch woman who they worship. That's my story, for those of you who listen to that. So I started doing these Space Ghost episodes, and then like in '99, the 2 guys who wrote Space Ghost made this Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing that I worked on doing all the backgrounds for, and they didn't know what to do with it, so they like aired it at 4 in the morning on New Year's Eve. I don't know if you heard about that. They just were like dumped it. They're like, fuck this, I can't believe we spent money on this. And then people watched it. So, and some old lady, I don't know how they used to run that shit, but I'm pretty sure it was a very old woman who was like, there seems to be people watching it at 4 in the morning. So they're like, well, air it again at 4 in the morning. So they did, and more people watched it. And they kept doing that for like a couple of months, or they just put it on at fucking 3 in the morning. And so they did, and people were like, that's so weird, it's like a ball of meat. And the reason it became a series is because they spent so much money on making this pilot. Like, I made a fuck ton of money. I just made backgrounds. I made like, I don't even want to tell you how much I made. More than 10 grand. Like, a lot of money. It was like ridiculous, because Cartoon Network was just like money everywhere. And this was '99, where you could charge a lot. Like, nowadays people are like, get some fucking kid from high school to do my Photoshop background. Give them $15. Back then you were like, yeah, that's like $1,000 a background. They were like, okay. So, shit's all different. Thank you, Lucas. That's the reason you should hate Lucas, because he made shit so easy. Yeah, so they were like, we spent so much money on this fucking dumb pilot. We have all the assets, because the way that show is made, it's basically animated in Avid. Like, you just move the characters around and like lip flap. That's how shitty it is. It's just like a flat drawing of that shake with a background, no shadows or anything, it's just that. And then somebody like me or someone else would just move it over time, probably like this. And then someone else will